The new god of science fiction exposes new and unexpected abilities. Straight up, I'm writing this review as one of the very first people to read this book beyond Jeremy and his longtime editor, Kane Gilmore, and I'm targeting this review as much to Jeremy's longtime fans in his Facebook group, The Tribe, as I am to more general readers who possibly haven't ever even heard of Robinson. With this book, Robinson, who first came to my attention with several intricate, detailed, and spot-on allegories of biblical events wrapped up as kick-ass science fiction action, manages to craft a romance subplot here that is rather spicy jalapeno level, if not habanero. And yet he manages to do this in service to his overall kick-ass science fiction action thriller. So even if the romance side gets you into the door here, and it really is both completely unexpected from Robinson and yet at least as well done as most any romance book I've ever read, and better than many of them, know that Robinson never strays far from his roots, even with this new ability. Another new ability, and I say this next one as someone who literally has a tattoo of an image Robinson created on one of the arms he is using to type this very review, is the particularly poignant quotability deep in this book. As in, Ender's Game level quotability and profoundness in a couple of key sections in particular. Quotes I wish I could share publicly, but can't until after this book releases almost 6 months to the day after I finished reading it. The final new ability is perhaps the most interesting of all. This is the first book I've ever read from Robinson where even I, who absolutely loathes the very concept of a trigger warning, point blank told Robinson and Gilmore that they may want to consider adding one to this particular text. As one of the reasons I detest them so very much is the simple fact that they are always spoilers, no matter how generally they are crafted. Unfortunately, the only thing I can note here is that in 2 sections in particular, both in the front half of the book and both effectively side by side, Robinson brings into this tale certain real-world tragedies that he has never before brought into any of his books, tragedies that are so dark that they tend to be blights nearly any time they are even mentioned at all. To be clear, Robinson uses them in a responsible manner that adds depth to the characters involved without glorifying, indeed, while explicitly condemning, the tragedies at hand. These are all depths of storytelling that Robinson has never plumbed so deeply or so well, that despite being one of the earliest readers to have read his books at all and having been a reader of his works for nearly 2 decades now, since MySpace, I had never really known him to show that he is adding these kinds of abilities into his storytelling now, this deep into his career and as he beings to approach his 100th novel, and may have even already broken that. Shows remarkable advancement that very few authors ever really display, which only serves to make Robinson stand out, in great ways, all the more. And then, yes, the kick-ass sci-fi action that is Robinson's bread and butter. You're never getting far from it in this book, and yes, Robinson's more recent pop culture referencing and frequent use of all manner of cussing is equally prevalent throughout our action here. Longtime fans or those just looking for a fun few hours of distraction from the so-called real world will find here exactly what Robinson has always done so very well, crafting an exciting and pulse-pounding sci-fi thriller that will allow you to think if you so choose, but which also works perfectly well with all thinking turned off and just sitting back and enjoying the show. Further, this is also Robinson showing some of the very profound thoughts he sometimes buries to greater or lesser degrees, this time barely buried at all, if at all. Surely to get cancelled or crucified over some of the things his characters say in nearly every book he writes, this one is no different. I can tell you that even knowing Robinson as long as I have, even having shared a couple of meals over the years directly at his side, even I can't tell you his actual political or religious beliefs. So before you think to 1-star this book over those comments, know that yes, we, Robinson's longtime fans, see them. And those reviews say far more about you than about him. Smiley face emoji. Overall quite possibly Robinson's best yet, which is not said lightly, in part due to said tattoo, winking face emoji, that also seems to possibly be leading somewhere beyond this particular book. Will it? We shall see. Very much recommended.